Hello students, today I am starting class 10 first chapter life process. First of all, we will discuss what is life process. Actually, all the basic function performed by living organism in our body to maintain life is called life process. Or which processes are required actually in our body? Various processes are running. First for nutrition, and for these are the life processes and these are the facilities provided in our body to carry on these life processes. First one is nutrition. For the nutrition, digestive system, proper well organized digestive system is present. For respiration, respiratory system is present. For circulation or transportation, circulatory or transporting system is present. For excretion, excretory system is present. And for control and coordination, nervous or endocrine system or hormonal system is present in our body. And due to by the control, by the coordination of all these processes, life in our body is running. Now we will first in this chapter you have to learn first about nutrition, then respiration, then circulation, and then excretion. That means in life process you have to learn about these four topics, and in next chapter you have to learn about control and coordination. First I am starting from nutrition. First you will see what is nutrition. What is nutrition? When you will see nutrition, you will find the process or the life process of taking in food. For taking in food, for proper growth and development of our body. Growth and development of our body is called nutrition. It's called nutrition. You can see here the process of taking in food for proper growth and development of our body is called nutrition. When you will see nutrition types, then types of nutrition, you will find nutrition can broadly be divided in two types. First one is autotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition. And second one is heterotrophic nutrition. As it is clear from the name, auto means self, and trophic means synthesizing food. Synthesizing food. That means those organisms which can synthesize their own food are called autotrophic nutrition. As it is clear from the name, its best example is green plants. And here heterotrophic nutrition means, hetero means depend on others, and nutrition means self-synthesizing property. That means those organisms which depends for their food on other are called heterotrophic nutrition. Now we will see in further more detail about heterotrophic nutrition. When you will see heterotrophic nutrition, you will find it can broadly be divided in three categories. First one is saprotrophic. Saprotrophic. That means which depend for their food on organisms which depend for their food on dead and decaying matters. Organisms which depend on dead and decaying matter. Decaying matter for their food. Best examples are bacteria and fungi. Bacteria and fungi. Second one is parasitic nutrition. Parasitic nutrition. When you will see parasitic nutrition, organisms which derive food from others without killing it. Those organisms which derives food from other organisms without killing it are called parasitic organisms, and such type of nutrition is called parasitic nutrition. And its example is lysage, tapeworm, etc. Here lysage are ectoparasite, that means it lives on the body of organism, whereas tapeworm are endoparasite. Endoparasite. Third one is holozoic. Third one is holozoic nutrition. When you will see holozoic type of nutrition, such type of nutrition is present in those organisms which eats solid food. Organism which eats solid food, chew it and digest it in its body. That means macromolecules can be converted in micromolecules are called digestion. That means holozoic nutrition which eats solid food, chew it well and digest in their body are called holozoic nutrition. Now we will see in detail autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. Autotrophic nutrition. When you will see autotrophic nutrition, it occurs in green plant. It occurs in green plant. How it occurs? Actually, it synthesizes their food. It synthesizes food by photosynthesis. By photosynthesis. What is photosynthesis? Actually, with the help of light, food is synthesized. That's why it is called photosynthesis. With the help of light, food is synthesized here. Now, when you will see how photosynthesis occurs, actually, raw materials which are required for photosynthesis are carbon dioxide and water. And with the help of carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight, in its chlorophyll, it synthesizes their food, and that food is called glucose. That food is called glucose, and a excretory gas. it evolved on, and what is the name of that excretory gas? It is oxygen. This is called glucose. And the entire process is called photosynthesis. Look at here, photosynthesis, raw material is carbon dioxide and water. How it synthesize their food? Actually, in its chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is the kitchen of the plant. And in its chlorophyll, in the presence of solar energy, with the help of carbon dioxide, water, it synthesizes their food. And that food is actually in the form of glucose. And a excretory gas is evolved, and its name is oxygen. This glucose is not stored as glucose. Glucose is stored as starch in the plant body. In which form it is stored? In the form of starch. Now, come to the here you have seen what are the raw materials required. First raw material is carbon dioxide. What is its source? What is its source? Raw material. These are raw material for photosynthesis. These are source. And these are facilities. Which facilities are present in the plant body? Carbon dioxide, what is its source? From where it gets carbon dioxide? From the air. How it enters in the plant body? Through the stomata. Stomata are actually minute pore present in the surface of leaf. Second raw material is water. How does it enter in the plant body? It entered in the plant body from soil. Which facility is present there? Root is present, and from the root it is conducted to leaf through the xylem. Through the xylem, conducted to leaf. It is conducted to leaf. Through the xylem, it is conducted to leaf. Actually, xylem is pipeline, and through this pipeline, it is conducted to the leaf. Third one is solar energy. It is also a raw material, either from the air or its surrounding. And what is its source? Actually, the facility which is present in the plant body is chlorophyll. It traps solar energy from the air. That means in this chart it is clear what are the raw material, what are the source from where these raw materials are taken, and what are the facilities through which it enters in plant body. Now come to the mechanism of photosynthesis. When you will see mechanism of photosynthesis, when you will see mechanism of photosynthesis, it is not single step process. It occurs in many steps, and here in your book of NCRT, it is broadly divided in only and only 3 steps. In first step, what happens? Absorption of solar energy. In first step, what happened? Absorption of solar energy by chlorophyll. Chlorophyll. Absorption of solar energy by chlorophyll. What happened in second step? This solar energy, that means light energy, is converted into chemical energy and used in splitting of water molecule. Splitting of water molecule, that means water broken down by solar energy. Water broken down light energy or solar energy into hydrogen and oxygen. Into hydrogen and oxygen. Here you can see hydrogen, oxygen. That means water molecule is broken down into hydrogen and oxygen with the help of solar energy. What happened in third step? In third step, this hydrogen is used. Hydrogen is used in reduction of carbon dioxide in glucose. That means carbon dioxide is reduced by hydrogen into C6H12O6 plus oxygen. Here that means this hydrogen is utilized in reduction of carbon dioxide in the form of glucose, and excreted gas is evolved. That gas is called oxygen. And this glucose is stored as starch in the plant body. Now come to the where does photosynthesis occur? Where does photosynthesis occur? Actually, it occurs in the kitchen of the plant, and that kitchen of the plant is called chlorophyll. It occurs in kitchen of plant, and that kitchen of plant is called chlorophyll. Where does this chlorophyll present in leaf? Second question is, where does chlorophyll present? Actually, when you will see where does chlorophyll present, you will find it is present in leaves. In case of monocot, equally distributed on both surface. That whereas in case of dicot, restricted mostly on lower surface. Restricted mostly on lower surface. How does these chlorophylls are arranged on in leaves? Now come to the location of chlorophyll in leaf. Location of chlorophyll in leaves. When you will see its location, first of all you will see the structure of leaves. You will see here this one is margin, apex, the expanded portion of the leaf. This one is lamina. This is mid-ring. You can see such type of structure here, which is darkened, and this is mid-ring. These are veins. This is the structure of leaf. This is the structure of leaves, and which name is given to its different part you can see in the blackboard. Apex, expanded portion is lamina, darkened middle line is mid-ring, margin by which it is bonded, and veins emerges out from the mid-ring. Now you will see the transverse section of leaf. You can see here upper surface and lower surface. You can see its cross section or transverse section. When you will see tiers of leaf or cross sectional area of leaf, you will find upper epidermis, lower epidermis. This one is upper epidermis, and this one is lower epidermis. You always find that if you pour waters on the surface of leaf, it never enter there. Why? Because it is covered externally by waxy coating. And what is the name of this waxy coating? This one is cuticle. This one is cuticle. This is lower epidermis. This one is upper epidermis. This one is upper epidermis. Between all the structures present between upper epidermis and lower epidermis is actually mesophyll. What is present in mesophyll? Palisade set. In the upper region, it is densely arranged. In the upper region, it is densely arranged. And here chlorophylls are present. Here chlorophylls are present. And in the lower region, it is also present, but along with some gap. You can see in the diagram. That means these are, what is these? These are air cavities. These are palisade cell. And here chlorophylls are present. In its chlorophylls are present. Now look at the diagram again. This diagram is actually cross section of leaf. When you will see the cross section of leaf, you will find that in the upper surface, upper epidermis is present. In the lower surface, lower epidermis is present. Both the surface are covered by waxy coating, and that waxy coating is called cuticle. When you will see the area present between the area or structures present between the upper and lower epidermis, you will find it is called mesophyll. In this mesophyll region or mesophyll area, or mesophyll, various palisade cells are present, and this palisade cell contains large number of chlorophyll, as you can see in the diagram. Now, is it clear what is the location of chlorophyll in leaves? Now, come to the structure. What is this structure? These structure are actually stomata. And now, we will go in detail about the stomata. When you will see stomata, what is stomata? Stomata are actually minute pores present on surface of leaves, and guarded for opening and closing by guard cell. Look at here, stomata. What is stomata? It is actually minute pores present on surface of leaves. It is guarded for opening and closing by guard cell. Now look at the structure of stomata. Structure of stomata. When you will see structure of stomata in your NCERT book, you will find two structures are given. First structure is open stomata and second structure is of closed stomata. Look at first open stomata. This is open stomata. Its inner surface is thick. You can see here thick surface. Why it is thick? Because it has to open and close. That's why it is thick. This is stomatal pore. And this stomatal pore is guarded by two guard cell. This guard cell contains a nucleus and large number of chlorophyll. This one is nucleus and this one is chlorophyll. Where does this stomata is present? This stomata is present in between the epidermal cell, as you can have seen in the cross-sectional area of leaf, cross-sectional diagram of leaf. This is epidermal cell. This diagram is of open stomata. And now come to the next diagram which show closed stomata. We will rub just middle. Here in the closed stomata, the area is closed. You can see here thickened structure, thickened surface of inner wall. And now this diagram is of not of closed stomata. Actually, when it closes, what happens? When it closes the wall, what happens? it is also stretched. It not swells like open stomata. Each and everything is present. This one is nucleus. These are chlorophyll. Each and everything is present, but this one is stomatal pore, which is closed. This one is nucleus. This one is chlorophyll. These two are guard cell. These are epidermal cell. These are epidermal cell. And now this one is of closed stomata. That means what is the difference between closed and open stomata? Actually, guard cells are stretched. Stomatal pores are closed. These two difference you will find in closed stomata. It differs in these 2 points from the open stomata. Now come to the how these stomatal pore opens and closes. How does stomata open and close? आखिर ये स्टोमाटा खुलता और बंद होता कैसे है? When we will see how does stomatal pore open and close, it opens and close due to change in turgor pressure. Due to change in turgor pressure, it opens and close. How does this turgor pressure open or close? First point. What happens when stomata open? What happens when stomata open? Turgor pressure increases due to entry of water in guard cell. What happens when stomata close? Turgor pressure decreases due to exit of water during transpiration. But question arises, why it open or close? How does it open and close? You have seen why it open and close. That means what is the role of stomata? Role of stomata. When you will see why it opens or close, you will find there are mainly 2 roles. First, exchange of gases. It opens or closes due to for exchange of gases. What happens during breathing? What happens? Oxygen enter and carbon dioxide exit through stomata. What happens during transpiration? During photosynthesis? Carbon dioxide enter through stomata and oxygen exit. That means its first role is exchange of gases. What happened? During breathing and photosynthesis, just reverse. Actually, during breathing, oxygen enters through the stomata in the body and carbon dioxide exit. Whereas during photosynthesis, carbon dioxide enter and oxygen exit. What is second role? This is the first role of stomata. Now come to the second role of stomata. Its second role is transpiration. You know very well that excessive water in your body is expelled out in the form of urine through urethra. But in the plant body, no excretory well organized excretory system is present for excretion, for metabolic waste, or for excessive water. For exiting of excessive water, stomatal pore or stomata is provided there, and this stomata is used for loss of excessive water of body. In which form? In the form of water vapor. And this process is called transpiration. These are the two primary roles of stomata. And in next class, we will proceed in digestive system of human body. Now,